young boy said, I can't deal with you like that anymore. Because if he hadn't left her, she'd still be with him to this day, probably.
I think she cut him off.
From what I heard, he cut her off. Either way.
Okay, so since I have experience in that type of entanglement.
All right.
One of two things happens.
Okay.
Because I've been on both sides of it, where I've been the married person or I've been the side piece. One of two things happen. One, you cannot expect that married person to leave their spouse. No. That's the first thing. So you have to contend with that. And two, if you as the side piece or even as the married person gets too caught up in your feelings for what that situation is, you become a nuisance and you get cut off. So being that I wasn't a fly on the wall, and I can only look at it as Jada was not leaving Will, it has to be caught up in that area to where he was a nuisance, or he felt like it was going nowhere because she wasn't leaving her husband. So for the sake of conversation, let's just say they mutually split because it was not going to work. It was going to become
agreed.
Hectic. But then he goes out and make a whole album about her. And he goes out having interviews about her, talking about how much he's given his all to her. It's like, God, what are you doing?
I think he was a real simp too, though. I ain't gonna lie. And the reason I say that is, apart from if you want something different, meaning if you want a family of your own or a clear-cut relationship, I get it. I feel you. But how many young guys are banging older women with, pretty much access to all kinds of money? Like anything you could probably imagine she gave him or could have gotten him. So he left a fat cat in more ways than one, I'm sure. But again, I'm sure they split because, things got out of hand in both their eyes, to put it kindly.
Oh man. When you throw that out there like that, how many about dudes messing up situations like that? There are tax brackets to that, because you could have a little high school dude who happens to hook up with a teacher, and he has access to whatever. Or you can see the guy at the corner store who hooks up with a lady that's in upper management at a corporate company. It's so many dynamics to that. But the thing about it is, you have to walk into that situation knowing exactly what it is. And in the same way that people have communication in marriages and relationships or hookups or whatever the case may be, you have to have communication in that situation. Because when you mess with a married person, you have to have clearly cut and defined rules of engagement. I'm not condoning people go out and do that, but I'm saying if you do, you have to have clear-cut rules of engagement for that situation.
There's got to be a stoppage point, meaning a line in the sand, as they say. So, yeah, it happens. It has happened long before you and I were even thought about being on this planet, and it's going to be here long after we're gone. So it just is what it is. And again, I'm not condoning or condoning anyone to place themselves in that situation. But again, you have to realize if you are in a situation like that, look further down the